Some big updates on the stimulus package, what happened today and in recent meetings. It is getting intense as we approach the final days. Let's get into it and discuss all the details. But really quickly, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video as it's totally free to do so, and I am here for you each and every day bringing all the latest updates as they're being released, as well as talking through other very important information that you certainly need to know right now as things are changing very rapidly, and I am very much committed and dedicated to helping out everybody in this community getting all of the money and benefits that you're eligible to receive during this time. So again, thank you so much for your support. Subscribe down below and let's get into this right away. All right, so if you've been watching the videos for any length of time now, you've probably heard me say as we approach the final days on these packages, usually it gets to be really intense. Well, that's exactly what we are witnessing once again right here. It is a real live soap opera playing out right in front of our eyes. Yeah, that's what it seems like anyway. So let's talk through what is going on today is in regards to some massive changes that came down to the stimulus package and what is coming out of some of these meetings as of lately. All right, let's quickly start out with some of these meetings. So remember, just the other day, Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders, both Democrats on opposite sides of the spectrum, but still both Democrats, they met just the other day in a meeting, and they actually emerged from that meeting, and it sounded to be pretty productive, right? They actually met together in the parking lot, and they actually took a photo together with reporters. Things were looking fine and dandy at that point, and they were coming together on negotiations. However, they had another meeting. Did it go the same? I'm going to give you a little hint. No, not even close. In fact, in this meeting that these two guys had, Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders, it sounds like, according to the reports that I was reading, for about 10 minutes, these guys were going back and forth at each other, where Bernie Sanders was saying he was at $3.5 trillion, and Joe Manchin held up his hand in a circle like this and said, I'm at zero. I am totally fine with zero. In other words, he's totally fine not doing anything when it comes to this stimulus package. So wow, you can see how intense this is getting, right? According to witnesses who are also there, they basically said, yeah, it was really intense for about 10 minutes of these guys going back and forth at each other. Wow. Like I said a minute ago though, remember, both of these guys are Democrats. However, they are on opposite sides of the spectrum within the Democratic Party, right? So maybe you've heard some rumors going around out there right now that Joe Manchin was talking about changing parties to Republican. That's not actually true. No. Actually, he said if he was a problem for Democrats, he would consider changing parties to be an independent. So that just came out just a short time ago. So that is actually what was said, but there were rumors going around saying he said that he would turn into or change parties to Republican. No, he said independent if he was being a problem for Democrats. So kind of interesting stuff right there, right? So that's what's coming out of some of the meetings. However, there were other meetings coming out as well. Remember yesterday in my video, I said that the range for the price tag on this package right now was sitting at about $1.7 to $2.2 trillion as of yesterday. However, it tightened up once again today. The new range that we're sitting at right now is 1.7 to 1.9 trillion. So as you can see, they've shaved off anywhere between about 1.8 and about 1.6 trillion dollars off of this bill so far. So yeah, they've really done a massive shaving on this thing so far, right? So they're sitting pretty much right below about $2 trillion or so on this package as of right now. Now again, more cuts could be coming in or it could be jacked up a little bit, right? But that's kind of the current range that we are sitting at as of today. All right, so let's talk about some other updates coming out of this. Nancy Pelosi, in a press briefing, was actually out and said that they would be removing the raise in taxes on corporations from 21% up to 28%. They're going to pull that out of there. Kind of interesting, right? Because remember, this was kind of like one of the big ticket items. Well, not big ticket, but this was like one of the big selling points on this package is that they were going to jack up the corporate tax rate from 21% up to 28%. And Nancy Pelosi said, we're going to take that out. Really? Like, wait, what? I'm kind of confused. Like, this is kind of like one of the big things that they wanted to do in there. I mean, I'm guessing corporations are pretty excited about that, right? That from their tax bracket, or their tax rate, I should say, going from 21% to 28%, going up 7%. They're probably thinking, hey, this is great, right? An extra 7% that we're not going to have to pay in taxes going forward. On top of that, as a result, because they were going to raise taxes on all these corporations, right? But Nancy Pelosi and basically everybody came back. The president came back. Nancy Pelosi and pretty much everybody else came back, reiterating, hey, don't worry, even though we're going to take this out of there, we're still going to have wealthy Americans and corporations pay for this. So apparently they have a whole bunch of ideas up their sleeve that they're kind of thinking about and banking on as far as having all of this paid for. One of the provisions that I did see floating around out there was to have this wealth tax on billionaires. So basically it'd be like a 1% wealth tax, anybody that has a net worth over $1 billion. So that would generate a lot of money, right? And this, by the way, would not be a one-time thing. It would be an annual one-time levy, right? So, wow, that would add up to a lot of money really quickly. But I'm interested to see what else they come up with as far as raising taxes on the wealthy and corporations. Apparently, they have a whole bunch of ideas, but I've only seen a couple handfuls of ideas, but nothing solid has really come out of this quite yet. All right. So also, the president has confirmed, well, Nancy Pelosi also confirmed, that they are also going to be removing 100% gone, it is out of there, the funding for 2 years of paid community college. So remember that provision in there? They said that basically anybody who wants to go back to a community college for 2 years, it would be totally free. Remember that part? Well, it's gone. Well, I guess technically it hasn't been officially removed yet, but basically everybody has already signed on to the idea that, yep, we're going to pull that out of there. So it is pretty much gone. It's not happening anymore, this schooling. So I hope you weren't planning on going back to school, to a community college or schooling for another 2 years in hoping that it was paid for, because it's not in there anymore, okay? So, unfortunately, that part's not going to be in there. But as far as other provisions that they're going to be shaving down, the child tax credit, remember that one? This is the one that sends out those monthly checks to about 40 million families right now, anywhere between $250 and $300 each and every month per child. Yeah, that's only going to be extended for 1 year through 2022. So, originally they wanted to extend it out for another 4 years, but according to some of the shavings and some of the remarks out of the president, they're going to be shaving this down only to by a few more years, by shaving it down by 3 years, to just have it extend out for 1 more year. So out through 2022. Well, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, just think of this. How about all of the millions of families who are relying on that monthly money right now? What happens in a year, well, a little over a year from now, when all of a sudden that money just stops, abruptly stops, after people have been relying on it for the last 18 months? Is that going to set a bunch of people up for a kind of a tough situation? Yeah, of course it is. People start to rely on that money every single month over month over month, and then all of a sudden it stops, especially if it turns out to be a couple $100, several $100. If somebody has a couple different kids that are eligible for this, we could be looking at $500 or $600 per month that may just abruptly stop at the end of 2022, right? So, wow. That might be a little bit controversial right there. They're probably going to get quite a bit of pushback on that one, right? So yeah, that's on the shaving block. Remember, I've said this a couple days ago. We have a chopping block and we have a shaving block. On the chopping block is the 2 years of free schooling, and on the shaving block is the child tax credit, right? So we'll have to watch what else comes up on either of these two blocks and see what gets it, right? So these are what they're talking about right now to shave down the price tag on this bill. Next, when it comes to the final framework on this, remember, Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate on the Democratic side, he wants a final framework done by tomorrow. Well, Joe Manchin basically came out today and said, sorry, it's not happening. There's just no way that we're going to come together on the final framework of this bill by tomorrow. There's just no way. So basically, Joe Manchin is saying, hey, we're all working together. This is a massive bill. It's very complex. It encompasses thousands of pages. There's a lot of legislation. There's a lot of writing in here. There's a lot of different provisions in here. And it's going to take a lot longer than just the next 24 hours to actually come together on the final deal on this thing and actually work out all of the final framework. So Joe Manchin is basically saying, well, we're probably going to miss the deadline as far as the final framework. However, everybody else still says we're pretty much still in line for getting this thing for a final vote next week. So remember, they want to get this thing done by the end of October. So just pretty much next week is the end of October already. Wow, really? Halloween. It's coming fast, right? Wow. Anyway, so yeah, they want to get this thing done by the end of next week. So they have a little more than a week in counting in days. But when it comes to working days, weekdays, well, they don't have that many days left to go, right? So it's going to be intense. These couple days here, the last few days here since Congress has been back in session after returning from their vacation once again, it has been pretty intense so far. But I imagine going forward, the rest of possibly today even into the night, overnight possibly. You never know. Tomorrow, I'm sure. Over the weekend, there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. And next week will be very intense once again. So, yeah, there's a lot going on out there. However, I want to throw one more quick thing out there. I noticed in some research that I was doing, in one of the articles, the president made a comment saying that there would be a $300 billion surplus based on what they were currently doing and some of the shavings. There would be about a $300 billion surplus. When I saw that, I thought, does anybody else have any ideas what they could do with $300 billion? If you've been watching the channel for a while now, you know the numbers I've been throwing out there. $200 billion, $100 billion. Does any of that ring a bell? Yeah, that's all it would really cost to send out a stimulus check for the lowest income individuals. So when I saw that remark out there saying that there's going to be a surplus of about $300 billion, I thought, how convenient. $300 billion. That sounds about what we need, right? Actually, it's about 50% more than what we need. So maybe they could jack some payments up even more. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting that suspiciously there's only $300 billion as a surplus. That would be an amazing thing because guess what? We could gladly put a price tag and some provisions and to wrap around that $300 billion. I know exactly how we could spend that money, right? In a very good way and actually send something out to the people as a result of this package, right? So anyway, there's a lot more to talk about, but I'm going to leave it there for right now. Bring you, these are basically all the latest updates as of today and out of these recent meetings that just came out, but yeah, it's only going to get more intense from here. Trust me on that one because we've seen this every single time. So I don't know why this time would be an exception, right? That's exactly what we see every time. So I'm guessing the next few days here are probably going to be pretty intense. The soap opera will continue, right? To be continued, ... Right, anyway, so hope this helps you out in any way. Again, please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video. I'll continue to be here for you each and every day, bringing you all these latest updates and doing whatever I possibly can to help you out and making sure that I am your one and only daily advocate, making sure that we're getting you all the money and making sure that our voices are being heard as we continue to send all these letters over to Congress. So, by the way, if you didn't see that video from earlier this morning, go back and check that one out, as it's a pretty good one there, as we have our latest letter going out to Congress, and it's a pretty good one. So, again, subscribe down below, go back and check out that video from earlier today, and yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. So, thank you so much. I'll catch you.